Hey guys, Brad Pryor here with Great Brandon. We're hanging out at Kerry Kelly's arena today again. Best bit and spur maker in the industry, in my opinion, and good friend of mine. Today we're here with Miss Patty. Patty, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Patty Tiberg, and I'm with the National Reining Cow Horse Association. Currently serve as the Director of Sponsorships and their incentive program.
How has that worked out so far with you? Last year was your first year, right?
Yes, yeah, just a little over a year, celebrated my anniversary this summer, so it's been great. I came on board, the main focus was the incentive program. They had revamped their cow horse incentive program, and we launched 1st of June, and so I came on board in May and kind of took it from there and worked with Tara Carter and the committee, the task force, and kind of launched the Stallion program, and then we opened up nominations later in the summer, and it's been outstanding. It was a really fun project for me to get back to the performance horse industry, which is kind of where my career started years ago, and was overwhelmingly positively received. We ended up with, I think we're sitting at like 310 stallions right now and almost 4,200 offspring nominated. So it was kind of a whirlwind, but It's been wonderful working with the association and the people.
So let's back up just a little bit. So I try to talk to the audience about what the NRCHA is, the NCHA, the NFR. So can you describe the organization a little bit, the disciplines that
Absolutely.
the shows, the different shows, and then I want to kind of dig into the incentive program where people understand that. I'm trying to get everybody, I want people to understand what we're doing.
No, that would be great. So NRCHA, National Reining Cow Horse Association, we represent basically the three disciplines where we combine those three, where we do herd work, we do rein work, and we do cow work, which is basically the fence work, we call it. And so all of our horses and our riders are incredible athletes and perform at such a high level. It's a really incredible sport. If you've not been to one, I highly recommend going. It is definitely a spectator sport, very exciting and exhilarating to watch. The membership of NRCHA has really been growing over the last decade. We've seen tremendous growth. We've averaged at least 5% growth every year, some years as much as 15% growth in membership. Our shows are all, we spread across the country. We have 5 premier events that we put on ourselves, one in Las Vegas, which is our Stallion Stakes. We do our Celebration of Champions, sponsored by Cow Power. That is in Fort Worth in February, early March, typically. Our Snaffle Bit Fraternity, which is sponsored by Metallic Cat, that is in Fort Worth. That's actually coming up here in October pretty quickly. And then we also have our Kimes Ranch Derby, and we have our Hackamore Classic, sponsored by Mars Equestrian, and that one's in Tulsa. And the Derby is in Scottsdale at Westworld. So those are our 5 premier events. And then we obviously have affiliate shows throughout the country, and we're hoping to expand it a little more internationally here in the near future. And those are run by different event producers and some of our affiliates. And those count toward NRCHA standings and all of that throughout the year.
What I love about the reining cow horse is if you're not a horse person, you can be entertained. It's kind of like bull riding to me in the performance horse side of the world.
Yes.
Like, because you're going down the fence, the herd work, the reining, it's got all the dynamics of just cool. Even if you don't understand exactly what's going on, it looks flashy, it looks quick. The athletes and the horses are phenomenal. It's getting better and better by the day, and getting intensely and competitive. But I really like that when I bring a client or bring somebody new to the industry to be able to get them to watch that. They're entertained. They ask a lot of questions. And most time, you don't get a lot of questions when bull riding's happening. They're just waiting for them to get booked off or ride it. Right? With the reining cow, they're like, well, why is he turning that cow that hard? And and they're spinning all the dynamics. They kind of get it a little bit.
Yeah.
How complicated that is. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As far as
I love how it pulls the 3 disciplines together and really shows how it's used on a ranch. Why the reining is important, why the herd work is important, then getting that cow out and working that cow. It's just, I think for the first time when people see that, it is pretty mind-blowing. They've likely never seen anything like it.
Yeah. And one thing I've been proud for y'all doing too is we've spent a lot of time with the youth in y'all's program and other programs, but seeing the reining cow horse in the high school finals, stuff like that, where we're injecting it into the younger generation at that level, I think that's a very cool avenue to go into.
Oh, yeah. I was really excited years ago when they did that, and it's been great to be a part of that. We obviously have some sponsors who help with that, and I got to go this year for the first time I've been there before representing AQHA, but going there representing NRCHA and really immersing in the clinic that they had and the competition, and just I think we had 109 or 110 kids competing this year at the finals, which is to me just amazing to see. Those are really great numbers. It wasn't that much less than some of the other sports.
Oh, right.
Racing,
That's what shocked me.
They're going, wait a minute,
Yeah.
and it's guys and girls, and it's just so awesome to see.
Yeah.
The love that we participate in that.
Me too. I really like that. What is the Stallion Incentive Program exactly? What is that? Is there an age? Is there, what are the dynamics of how it's created?
So basically, right now the program is focused on our NRCHA Stallion Stakes, which is sponsored by Cinch, and that's out in Vegas in April. And that is a limited age event for 4 and 5-year-olds in our open non-pro derbies. And then for non-pro boxing, they can be 6. So it's a limited age event, and the offspring who compete in that event have to be sired by a stallion who is subscribed in the program. And so the big change last year, for the program, we brought Markel on as a presenting sponsor when we relaunched the program. And instead of just a flat fee each year for stallions, you now have to pay basically 1 times your stud fee, up to, not including booking fees and things like that. So if you have a farm fee or booking fee, that's not included, with a minimum of $1,500. That, as usual, has to be paid every year, which most stallion programs you have to pay every year. But that's the biggest difference for the stallions, is it's not just a flat $1,000 any longer. It's more in line with what the stud fee is. So if you've got a stud that's been extremely successful breeding for years and has a higher stud fee, it's reflected in the fee that you pay. You have a better opportunity of earning more money back because you've got more offspring competing in the pen, versus a younger stallion coming on that may launch their career and only have a $1,000 or $1,500 stud fee. They pay that lower fee. Once they pay, the offspring fold that year are eligible to be nominated, which that's totally new for the program. We've never had offspring nominations, so that's created kind of an additional payout purse that we pay out to the nominators, plus it increases the overall payout because you've got stallion subscription money going in, and you've also got nominator money coming in from those who nominate the offspring. When we launched it last year, I really love what the task force did. We made it a one-time fee for the program, and for the first year of the program, it was $275 flat no matter how old your horse was. So with the event this year, the horses could be up to 6, so we took 2019 through 2024 foals, and any age could be nominated for $275. We just increased that this spring. There's a late fee. We reduced it in half from what it originally was going to be. So you can still nominate those older horses now. So like your 2020s and older are eligible for next year's Stallion Stakes. So if you haven't nominated one, you still can. And there's a $500 late fee per year of age of horse now. Weanlings are $275, and that fee is basically similar to like with your breed associations. It's through the end of the calendar year. So you can nominate for $275 your weanlings through December 31st. Your older horses, it's just a $500 fee on top of that through December 31st. So it's like it's been really overwhelming to see how it's been received. We paid out over 1.2 million, which was more than double what was paid out at that event last year in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And we paid out to over 100 nominators, and I think it was around 29 or 30 stallion owners received payout because we have a stallion. So part of that fee, 80% of it goes into the general purse from the stallion subscriptions as well as the nominator purse. And then the balance, the 20%, goes into a nominator bucket and a stallion subscriber bucket. So that money is actually paid out to those stallion subscribers or to the people who were nominated. And it's really intended for the breeders. I think it's about time we really pay some respect and pay some money back to our breeders and our stallion stations and stallion owners who really are the backbone of this industry. We wouldn't have a sport if we didn't have the breeders, the owners, and the stallion owners and stallion stations. And so I'm really excited to see us paying money back to them. I think that is really a good thing for the sport and a great thing for the industry.
So when were you the one that actually like built the program, or is this something that you just kind of regen back into the force? I
came in right in the thick of it. Tara Carter, who is our director of programs, was heading up the program for NRCHA, and then there was a task force that was very involved in making the decisions initially. And then I came in. My initial job was really to sell it to the public and work with the marketing team to develop a marketing plan for it. And we rolled it out actually at the Derby. I was there on site in Scottsdale, and we rolled it out, launched it there, signed up our first stallion. And then opened it up. The fun part of it was we also launched a brand new CRM system at the same time. So I had to not only learn all about a new incentive program, but also learn a brand new CRM system, which NRCHA will eventually move a lot of their operations onto, but the incentive was the first program launched on it. And it was really challenging, but really a great program. And it's made it to where we can communicate well with stallion owners and nominators. And it's up the game professionally, I feel like, for NRCHA, for sure.
With the different shows, you have the Snaffle Bit, the Hackamore Classic. What is the person that's not very fluent on horse stuff? What is the difference between those?
The
like
events.
the Hackamore Challenge, the Snaffle Bit.
So obviously the Stallion Stakes, which we've talked about, most of our events have horse show classes, but they also have what we call limited aged events. And those are typically futurity for your 3-year-olds, which is like our Snaffle Bit futurity is focused on the 3-year-olds. We have some other events take place there, but the main focus is for the 3-year-olds. And then we have the non-pro, the open, the limited open, the limit, just several divisions that they can compete in. And then our Celebration of Champions is really our world show. And that's, we've got Cow Power who sponsors Celebration Champions, the world show part of it, Cow Power Quarter Horses, and then we have the Tres Osos Derby there, which is our limited age event for the 4 and 5, and then the 6-year-olds for the non-pro. And then we also have the 4, 5, and 6 at the Stallion Stakes, which we talked about, for Vegas, and that is an incentive. Like for the aged event, like I said, they have to be sired by Stallion in the program. Then there's other horse show classes at that show as well, so other people can come and compete at that event. Then we move on to the Derby, which is typically in June, and that's in Scottsdale. That show has a Derby as well, and that show's sponsored by Kimes Ranch. That's very much a focus on youth and non-pros, I would say, more. It's the first event, kind of big event of the summer, where kids are out of school, so we do a lot of youth activities there. We had a really successful youth clinic at that show this year. We had over 60-some kids participating in our clinic there, and several of our trainers volunteered their time. It was a really great experience for everybody. And then we move on to the Hackamore, which is kind of the tradition of the cow horse, moving up from the Hackamore. We have the 2-rein, and then you move your Snaffle Bit, then the 2-rein, then the bridle. It's kind of that tradition of progressing into the bridle when they're an older Derby age horse, or bridle horse, moving out of the Derby classes. So that event, it really showcases the tradition of the Hackamore, which I love to watch. It's pretty neat seeing those horses back in those Hackamores competing.
Yeah, I enjoy that probably most out of all of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. What all has evolved into that.
Yes.
So you joined up with the NRCHA a year ago. You have a little time off between what you're doing before? Or?
Yes. I was with AQHA for 3.5 years. Took a little bit of time off. And actually my plan was to start my own consulting company, and I started an LLC and was intending to go and find several clients and kind of do what I love with sponsorship stuff and marketing and some sales. And NRCHA approached me about the incentive opportunity. They had that posted. I wasn't sure if it was the right fit. It was a little more marketing role and some things more hands-on stuff on marketing that I wasn't sure I was the right fit for, but after some conversations with them, we kind of refined it to really focus on the incentive. And so I took them on as a client, and thinking I would eventually be able to take on some other clients, but it's really developed into a full-time client for me, and I work for them pretty much exclusively right now, especially since earlier this year I took on sponsorships as well. So I have a pretty full plate there, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm glad I took a little time off before jumping in.
We're jumping in.
Yes. Sir.
What was your roles at AQHA?
So at AQHA, I was the Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer. So I managed the media, the magazine and social media, digital, the marketing team, sponsorships, and sales for NRCHA, for AQHA, sorry.
Yeah, I got you. Family?
Absolutely. My family is my light. I've been married 31 years as of just a few days ago.
Congratulations.
And I have 2 children. I have a 22-year-old son with special needs. He has a rare syndrome called Coulind-de-Vries syndrome. It's basically a microdeletion on one of his chromosomes. And then I have a daughter who just turned 20. August is a busy month for us. We have anniversary and 2 birthdays in August. She just turned 20, and she is a junior at Oklahoma State University. And she's my horse girl. My son loves things that go fast, but they have to have wheels because horses don't go fast enough safely for him.
Hey, husband, architect, is that right?
Yes, my husband's an architect. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. That's a very driven personality as far as being able to function to me. I do drawings, I deal with a lot of that kind of stuff, intricate details, and trying to have a personality outside of work sometimes is a little rough because you're so into all them details. Get boring, but you have to pull yourself out of that world. I love it. I love going on the whole figuring stuff out, but
he actually misses the drawing part of it. I think he's more in administration now. He's more of a project manager now, and he misses the actual hands-on drawing because he's so creative. He does miss that.
I got you. So, is there anything new with the NRCHA you're gonna work on or work towards?
So right now our big focus is obviously Snafflebit Futurity. With this year's challenge of not having the Coliseum, we've been working through a lot of the logistics for that, and we're pretty excited. We're going to be adding some really neat features to kind of make the event special for those who can participate. We're adding a VIP lounge for our sponsors and our VIPs. That's never been there because we're going to do finals in John Justin instead of Coliseum. And then we're doing a really cool street party. We have a kickoff party that we've been doing now for a couple of years, and that's sponsored by Top Fuel Ranch. But we're adding an actual watch party this year as well. And then we have the after party that's sponsored by Metallic Cat. So Top Fuel is going to step up, Top Fuel Ranch, and they're going to sponsor the watch party as well this year. So we have a place for people to go who maybe can't get a ticket. We only have so many tickets, and those are going to sell out really quickly. So they'll have live music out there. We'll have commentary out there, and we're going to have obviously a big screen where you can watch the competition. We'll have dummy roping out there. Smarty's going to sponsor that. And so we're really excited. We're going to make it just a party all day. We've got the sale, the Western Blood Sock sale that'll be finishing up that afternoon, and then it'll roll right into a party. And it's going to be, we're going to close the street between Watt Arena and John Justin, between the sale and the actual where the finals will be. So there won't be any traffic going through there, and it'll be just a party.
Yeah, that's cool. What is your favorite stallion?
I don't have a favorite stallion. I'm not allowed to have a favorite stallion, but I love them all. But I do have to say I met Metallic Cat for the first time, which amazes me because I've been working in this industry. Before AQHA, I worked for Morris Equine Group, which was the parent company of Western Horseman and Quarter Horse News, and so he's graced the pages of the magazine that I ran for so many years, and it's amazing. I'd never actually met him in person, but I got to go out there. We did a photo shoot out at Valley Equine the other day, and I got to see him, which was pretty cool. Couldn't take a picture of him. We're not allowed to do that, but I got to see him.
Yeah, he's an icon of the industry all the way around, all different disciplines, but very special horse. And created a lot of great bloodlines.
He has, and it's amazing the depth in the cow horse. I mean, that has really come of it, and I think that's one of the things that is so special about this incentive program is we're kind of a melting pot. Obviously we have our amazing stallions that focus on cow horse, and they market to the cow horse industry, and they're producing amazing cow horse offspring. But we have stallions in our program from Metallic Cat on down to people who pasture breed and are raising cow horses, and we have our grassroots all the way up to that pinnacle top level stallion in the performance horse industry, and I think that's incredible. And I love that we have those options, and there's that many stallions producing, and then you're seeing the crossover now with roping too.
Big time.
Super cool, and I think it's been amazing having the rope horse futurity there during the snaffle bid, and I love what that's done for both disciplines.
100%.
I really do.
Yeah, he's a special horse, and he's done a lot of things to the industry. And the biggest challenge now is trying to find something that doesn't have cat in it to breed, because he's so heavy bred. And highbrow cat to metallic is there's so much cat. Just trying to find something you can cross over.
Yes.
To do something different. There's not a whole lot of options just yet, but that's how heavy he is in the industry. Yeah. So
we're getting more and more, and we're seeing sons of him do really well. I mean, our Stallion Stakes champion was a metallic rebel, so you're starting to see some of those. The own sons of him just really dominating cow horse too. It's amazing to see.
That's true.
Lots of great stallions.
And one thing that's cool too, I've seen, you have some of your historic ranches that are involved in bringing horses there and run for the million. I know it's not y'all's deal, but in y'all's discipline or y'all's part of the event, usually all the Bonds Ranch, all the big. To me, that's heritage, and that I feel like y'all do a good job of representing, bringing those bigger ranches, historic ranches together.
Yes, I do. We do our cowboy class But we're excited to get 4-6s really involved with that, and they're sponsoring both cowboy classes. We do one at the Snaffle Bit Fraternity, and then we also do one at the Celebration of Champions. And those are awesome. And I watched the one out there at Run for a Million. I thought that was great exposure for the ranches to have. I absolutely love it, and I want to encourage it. And we do a cowboy clinic as well, which kind of helps some of those cowboys transition to the show pen, because it is different what you're doing on the ranch to what you're doing in the show pen. So I love that there's our trainers want to encourage that, and they want to support that, and they come out there and volunteer their time to work with them. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's cool to be able to see that and then the show.
Yes.
Because you really do see the working cowboy part of it, how things are a little different, how they perform.
Yes.
I mean, they're just going out there to do their job. They're not really trying to perform or be correct about everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool to show that.
I do love that. I love the tradition of this discipline. Like I was saying, when I worked for Quarter Horse News years ago, that was my first. I started and I was working with Quarter Horse News back in 2000. I was with Morris for 20 years, a long part of my career with that media group. And I got to go to Snaffle Bit. I want to say it was in 21 or 2001 was my first year, and fell in love with Cow Horse from the start. That was my favorite event when it was in Reno, going out there, and I would volunteer to work the booth out there every year. My husband like, why do you want to go to Reno for 2 weeks? Why wouldn't I?
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely stuck with me, that sport.
One thing I miss from the Quarter Horse News to the PRCA News, back, I'm an old man, but 30 years ago, we used to get the newspaper, and that's stuff that the news for the month, or I don't know if it's weekly or what, but the PRCA, the AQHA, they all released those, and that was like the Bible of what else was going on.
Yeah.
You didn't have technology back then, so how everybody communicated was
Exactly.
through that, to know what's going on in the industry.
I miss Quarter Horse News. That was I was there when they decided not to, they just do a spring edition and they do their stallion register. And that was a really hard decision to make. It was hard on the family. It was hard on all of us. That was kind of my baby coming in. I mean, Western Horseman was our flagship, obviously, but it was, my passion was the performance horse side more. And, but it just, things really changed, publishing world. And that's probably why I left Morris. I really, for years, thought they're the kind of company you can work for forever. Just amazing family, amazing company. And after 20 years, I fully intended to retire there, but I just wasn't sure where the media world was going to go. And they've pivoted and made a lot of great changes there. And they bought a PBR team, or started a PBR team, and have bought more events and really branched out and diversified, which is what needed to be done. But AQHA came calling right in the middle of COVID. And I had talked to them years before about the possibility, and decided not to do it at that time, but things had just gotten to a point where I just wasn't sure what the media, especially with COVID happening, and where was it all going to go. So I changed over to AQHA at that time.
It's a common topic with just about every podcast I've done. The 07, 08 recession. And then, and then you have, 9/11. That's how after you was born, I lost my job and went out and started my own business. And then 07, 08 happened. Things were going great, and it was like hit a brick wall.
Oh, yes.
And then COVID happened.
That wall.
Yeah. And then COVID happened. It was like, wow, the cycles, they keep happening, but we always made it through them,
Tell you, COVID, I mean, we all thought it was going to be the end of the world in some ways, but it's been a shot in the arm for this industry, in my opinion.
Mine too.
Yeah. It really, I think it's brought a lot of people back to this lifestyle, and people realize, there were better things to do with their free time and their discretionary income, and they're outdoors, and it's a great lifestyle. Yellowstone, obviously, what Taylor Sheridan's done with all of that, what Teton Ridge has done, hasn't hurt either. I mean, all of it, I think, has kind of created that perfect opportunity for growth. And it's just, we keep thinking it's going to slow down, but it hasn't slowed down. I love that.
When COVID happened, it was the most eeriest 4 weeks of my life, because the office in Greenville's always been busy, always loud. It was like quite quiet. But right after that 4 week time, everybody wanted to move to rural America. They wanted out of the city. They wanted a barn dough. They wanted a barn. They wanted all this stuff. And it just, from there, just went crazy. And really hasn't stopped. Yeah. Still people wanting to have that second option if something like that happens again. So it really has helped our industry with Yellowstone and stuff like that. But and as far as new memberships, are a lot of them coming from a different discipline to it, or is it new people in general?
I think it's a little of both. I think probably a little more coming from another discipline. The incentive has definitely just in the past year given us a boost there, because in order to nominate or subscribe, you need to be an NRCHA member. So that's really helped. But leading up to that, they were seeing that 5% average growth every year for the last several years. And so I really feel it has been from a lot of other disciplines. It was really interesting. Years ago when I was focused on sales and for Quarter Horse News, we had a sponsorship with NCHA, and the current marketing director at the time, he asked me if he could run ads in Barrel Horse News. And I thought, why are you wanting to advertise NCHA and Barrel Horse News? Well, apparently they'd done some research and realized that a lot of their membership had done that in their past, whether it was as a kid growing up or maybe through college, maybe done some high school rodeo or something, or college rodeo, and then looked to make the change. And obviously Cutting's been involved with the high school rodeo for a number of years. So I thought that was really interesting that they wanted to do that. And I think it worked well for them, actually. I don't know that they do that anymore, but this was kind of quite a while ago. But I do see a lot of people coming over to Cow Horse from, whether it's from the all-around or from rodeo or from reining, just cutting, other disciplines, just looking to do something different. And I think that's really awesome.
Well, and I think with different, like the breakaway rope and futurities, the head and heeling side, team rope side of having the futurities and derbies, I think it's taking some of those rodeo guys off the road that or getting close to retiring, but didn't have a good source of income to be able to train and ride the futurity, or just ride them in the futurity and get paid for it.
Yeah,
I think that's gravitated a lot to the industry itself.
Yes. Yeah, I want to see more of them try their hand. The one event we haven't talked about that's kind of our pinnacle, a lot of people would say, is our World's Greatest Horseman, which is an incredible event. And if you haven't watched that, you definitely encourage your audience to
Can you describe that show?
Into that. So that is kind of our elite competition, and it's in conjunction with our Cow Power Celebration of Champions and Western Bloodstock, Rachel Ranch, both sponsor that, and they basically go through the same paces as you do for the regular cow horse event. You have to do the herd, you do the reining, and you do the cow work, but you also have to steer stop. And so it's just a whole new level. Our guys all having to learn and to do the roping part of it, and I love. It's been just a natural synergy, I feel, is that they're working with each other more and more. We've seen lines of communication in the disciplines really open up, and that's a lot. I think the performance horsemen and the run for a million have really contributed to that, to where they're working together more, and with the teams, with the Teton Ridge, with the performance horsemen and stuff. And I feel our guys are working with ropers or whoever they need to work with to really hone their skill, whether it's in the reining, if they're working with reiners, if they're working lead changes with somebody specific. And you really see that in the World Greatest, because our athletes have just raised the bar on all the different disciplines within cow horse.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had a woman win for the first time this year, which was really exciting.
That was cool.
Really exciting to see Erin Firmino win that and be there for that. It is quite an amazing event. And the one thing NRCHA also does really well, and that event showcases it, is they put on a good production. Mm-hmm. I've really been impressed with the team, the show team there, and Emily's leadership and how they manage their events, and really making it to where it's a spectator event. And it's quick, it moves pretty, they run through the paces pretty quickly. They don't waste a lot of time. We try to do minimal award presentations during it. Sponsors don't always like that, but we're trying to really keep it to be something people want to come to, where we can continue to sell out. And wait till it's in the newly renovated Coliseum next year. It's going to be pretty exciting.
I'm excited to see what that's going to look like and when it's going to be done. I think that's the big question everybody's asking right now.
Yes.
But one thing I do like about the reining cow horse too is you have some very dominant females.
Amazing.
And you have a duo.
Yes.
Sarah and Chris. That are both powerful, and what's cool is they can cross.
Several duos.
Yeah, there is. Abby, there's different ones that different. Husband trains along with them, what have you, but just there's a lot of powerful females in it, and I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
And they're winning.
Yeah. It is one thing I love about the equestrian sport.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
Not gender specific.
It's not. I mean, there's very few disciplines within. I mean, maybe in rodeo there's, obviously a couple where the male dominate, but it's not that way in most of our sports. So I do love seeing that. I think it's great for the youth to see that. I mean, if you look at our youth classes, it's interesting because over years, there's been more male trainers in the
Right.
performance industry, whether it's cutting, reining, cow horse, but all of the youth and most of the non-pros are female.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. And my daughter actually did eventing, and I was talking to David O'Connor one time about eventing the same way. You go to an eventing show, and almost all of your competitors are women, but then you look at the elite level who are going to the Olympics and who are competing in the 5 and 4 stars, and it's mostly men. It's kind of an interesting, but I really feel cow horse is starting to really separate itself from the rest of the disciplines. That we've got more and more women in that professional level, and really competitive women. not
Really
just-
competitive. Like, yeah.
They can beat you any day.
Any day.
We were kidding about it at the Run for a Million the other day, that we need to start a side pot for men.
Yeah.
Cow horse.
That would be awesome. I might sponsor that.
There you go.
But no, and it goes along with what you just said too. The younger generation of youth seeing that, because when I was their age, 18 years old, male dominated sport.
Yes.
Just about everything in the equestrian world, except for a few things. But seeing that come up, you got a young lady that says, they have the whole world against her, but get to see the stories and the backgrounds of these people. And that's why we do this podcast. Like, you never know what somebody came from and where they're at in the industry today, but that way you can get a gravitation of the world maybe stacked against you, but you can figure it out. There's people that have, here they are,
Exactly.
And I think that's a lot with the females generation that's evolving now. And reining cow is where I see it the most.
Yeah,
So I like that a lot.
I do too, for sure.
So where did you grow up?
I actually grew up on Long Island, New York.
Oh, wow.
In kind of more rural. I was out in Suffolk County, so we had acreage. My great grandfather was a butcher, and my dad was obsessed with horses. So as far long back as I can remember, we always had horses. He was into halter horses, which was not my thing.
Right.
I obviously wanted horses to ride. So grew up there. I showed AQHA as a kid, but always wanted to get out. Like, I just always felt like I was in the wrong spot. It shouldn't have been born there. So first chance I got to go to college, I got out of there and moved to Texas and went to Texas A&M. So
You still have family up there?
yes, I have some family there. My husband has some family still up there. So we.
Oh, he's from there too?
Yeah, he's from there too. I actually, while I was in college at Texas A&M, he became friends with all my old high school friends I ran around with. So when I'd come home for Christmas or over the summer breaks, whatever, he would always be part of the group. And so we ended up just hitting it off, and we got married after I graduated, and then as quickly as I could, I got him to Texas.
Yeah.
We spent 5 years a detour in Alabama, which was great. We had a great 5 years there, worked for an amazing family, but then got back to Texas as quickly as I could.
Cool. What do you think our industry is missing? Western industry, just in general,
Missing.
not reining cow horse.
Boy, there were a lot of things that if you asked me this question before COVID, I would have been able to answer.
Right. I think everybody.
Because there's times that I think what we've got, is it too much? Is it going to push us over is it like the money, the added money? I'm
Right.
always excited about adding money. I love that we're paying out a lot of money, but I don't want the culture of our industry to change.
Right.
So is too much of a good thing something that could potentially change a culture?
Yeah.
I always worry about that.
Yeah.
But I do feel we definitely, and I hear this a lot from my task force, so we need to give more recognition, and not just to the athletes, but to the owners, horses. Like, we need to make those horses celebrities more, I feel. Rodeo does a really good job of that, although they don't do it with AQHA names, and put my AQHA hat on, that's hard for me. Because if it weren't for the American Quarter Horse, we wouldn't be doing any of this.
Right.
So, but I do feel recognition is really important, and telling the stories. I do love that there's all these podcasts like what you're doing and getting the stories out there. I love the television stuff that we're starting to do and getting that more exposure with Cowboy Channel. I was excited to see what Teton Ridge does with that. I know they've got their leaders comes from media, so I'm anxious to see where that goes, and hopefully we can continue highlighting the performance horse industry in addition as much as highlight rodeo gets.
Yeah. And I would agree with that, because a lot of, like, we have bucking bulls, we have reining cow horses, we have rope horses, but in the rodeo world, when they're announcing the bull that's 6 in the buck or what have you, it shows the name
Yes.
of the bull, shows the rider, and it shows the owner.
Yeah.
So they give recognition to everything. And I think that would be a smart move, because like, and same thing, a lot of these professional ropers or bulldoggers, whatever, a lot of the fans know their horse, know the name.
Yeah.
You know, and here I think a lot of us, we know what a metallic cat is, or we know different names, or scooter cat, whatever. There's all those names, but we don't know. There's no side story to them.
Yes.
I think if there was a storyline behind where they started, where they came from, I think I would inject more people to be nosy about it and want to be more involved.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's just the cloud over, like it's kind of really intimidating unless you've been around it forever.
Yeah.
If you walk yourself into that, that program of any kind, really, if there's not an explanation or how it works or recognition of certain things, you're kind of lost.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I think that would help a lot.
Yes.
To recognize that and what platform that's on.
Yeah, we I think it was Nick Dowers who had the idea during the for World's Greatest to do something with the horses. The hard part is we don't know till so close to the end who the finalists are going to be, the top 15 that make it to the finals, and they're just really doing something cool to highlight those horses, doing maybe an autograph session in the arena with the horses there, and the trainers can sell merch for the horses or themselves, and really just highlight all of that, bring the owners into it. I'd love to see us do it. We talked about it this year and we just couldn't pull it off. That's a busy couple days for us, but I'd like to see us do more of that, where we really showcase those horses, because they are incredible athletes.
Oh yeah.
And the favorite thing about it is how much they love their job.
Oh, 100%.
Like you watch them come in the pen. Yeah. Anytime I've brought a newbie, like somebody who comes from another discipline or somebody who really doesn't know horses hardly at all, they pick up on that. And I love that.
Yeah, that's true. Talk about an industry leader that I've known her name forever, Carol Rose. I mean, to me, she's developed so many different great stallions, mares. Her program is, to this day, still just leaches into everything that we're involved in. And I don't think people give her enough recognition. I want to get her on podcast. I want to talk to her. I love talking. Every time I see her.
You could.
Yeah.
I'm having lunch with her tomorrow. You want me to ask her?
Yes, I do. Actually,
I will.
I haven't been in front of her enough to pull her over and talk to her about it. She's always busy, but I've always respected her, and I've known about her since a little kid. So I think she's done a lot for our industry.
She has. She's
and in a healthy way too. It always kept her path.
Yeah, he has been an incredible sire of dams. I mean, you look at how many brood mares sired by Shining Spark are in I want to say it's 11 of our top 20 or something. It's
crazy.
11 of our top 25, something like that. Yeah, it's incredible. He has really been potent in that, and still has horses, competing too, that are sired by him. So he's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing horse.
Well, if you had to give an 18-year-old advice right now, or yourself at 18, what would it be?
It would definitely be follow your dreams, but to make sure you do your homework when you follow your dreams, make sure you really network, develop relationships with people in this industry, because there's a ton of opportunity, but don't come in just taking things for granted. Because I've seen that some more with the younger generation coming in. We used to call it a backpack journalist back in the day at Morris, because when we kind of transitioned, I remember when we launched the Facebook page for Quarter Horse News, and then Western Horseman and Barrel Horse News and all the magazines that we had, and all that starting, and our journalists having to evolve and learn all these different skill sets to cover everything for the magazine as well as for social media and the website and newsletters and e-blasts, and it just kind of went on and on and on. And now that's just a standard, and everybody who has a camera thinks they can do all of that a lot of times. And there are so many talented young men and women out there in our industry. They know horses, they have a passion for it, and they want to work in this industry. And I would just say, really make sure you try to learn from people, you respect the people in the industry that you're learning from, or who you're learning from, and you do your homework, you pay your dues. Don't ever expect a door to be open just because who you are or who you know. I really, really encourage that. And sometimes I think it's good to go outside the industry a little bit. I've encouraged my daughter, she's 20 and like I said, a junior in college, and I've told her I want her to go work outside the industry. She's passionate about it. She really wants to work in the horse industry. But I said, go learn outside the industry and see what you can bring back. That really helps. Because
that's an important piece of the pie that I haven't thought about. But
Well, it's because it's your passion, and I've been that way. I've worked in it most of my career. The 5 years that I spent in Alabama, I didn't work in the horse industry. I did on the side a little bit, but I went to work for a gentleman who, he had a big company and he was in horses. He brought me there to help manage the Alabama Quarter Horse Association. And he was basically underwriting the whole project, which unfortunately ended up leading to people thinking he was trying to take over the association. So it went south, and I started looking to get out of there and get back to Texas. And he said, listen, you can go back to Texas. I'll help you. I'll support you. But I really see something in you, and I'd love to hire you to work for my company. And he had an electrical wiring harness company that did all the wiring harnesses for like Bluebird buses, and they did medical equipment and Swarovski helicopters. And I actually went to work for his company and worked my way up from a production control clerk to a production manager. And then right before I left, I even went into sales, and I brought in a medical client for them. I mean, it was what I learned in those 4 years that I focused on working for his company was priceless. And every day I dig into that knowledge base and utilize what I learned.
Yeah.
So I do think it's really important, and especially from the marketing side of the industry. I've told my daughter I wanted to go to work for an agency. I wanted to learn like really what's cutting edge, because it's changed
a lot.
Data's king now. Data drives it all. And we have instant gratification, instant results. We know what's working. We know what's not.
Right.
We can see ROI. We can easily maneuver and pivot based on the results we see, where it wasn't that way.
No.
When I was focused on marketing, it wasn't that way at all.
No.
So
yeah, everything's
really
point of sale.
evolved.
Basically, the only time you ever knew
Yeah.
of a newspaper work or an ad work is point of sale.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing to back it up other than that.
Yes.
And that's changed so much.
Yes.
And then I agree, challenging people. Like I feel like if somebody wants to be in marketing or sales, and they're passionate about one industry, but I would watch other industries and go inject myself in it for a little bit, where you can bring it back to what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So like I love cowboy when I was growing up, but cowboy don't pay the bills. So I learned the trade, and building stuff, and then come back into now I get to rope and have horses that participate in the event. So, it's more enjoyable when you go down on paths to figure stuff out.
And there's so many different ways. I spoke at a youth group. AQHA does a youth excellence seminar every year, and I spoke at that one year. And it was interesting. I asked the group, about 150 kids there, kind of the cream of the crop, and asked them how many intend to stay in the horse industry for their career, expecting a significant number of them to raise their hands, and was kind of surprised how few actually did. But I also don't think many of them think about different types of careers in the horse industry, just how you can have a career aligned. You can go into real estate and focus on ranch properties. You can go into construction and, obviously you do other stuff, but a lot of your clientele are people you associate with outside of work and have become probably your friends. And so there's ways to do that. You can become a financial advisor and manage or help manage the wealth of those ranch owners and horse owners in our industry. There's a lot of different ways to stay connected. But the common theme was interesting. They all had a goal. They wanted to continue to have horses, and they wanted to be sure they had enough money to do it, because it is not an inexpensive hobby to get into. So unfortunately, that's a tough thing about our industry.
But I will say that I'm a product of it. I grew up single mom. I had a good friend of mine or more or less my father, raised me up and taught me everything in the horse industry and how to work, how to be a man. There is people in our industry, I feel like, that will help that person that doesn't necessarily have the funds.
Definitely.
They have everything, they have all the tools, they have all the assets, but they just don't have that. There is trainers and people that will help. That's what I love about our industry.
Yeah.
There's people that will.
It is evolving for sure. It was interesting. It's been really enlightening. My daughter, like I was saying earlier, did eventing, and she rode for about 5 years. And the English world is so different. You can just walk into a barn and take lessons, and then eventually find an opportunity to lease a horse. It's starting in the Western more. I know there's some people who are doing it, but like NRCHA doesn't even recognize a lease.
Really?
So it's kind of interesting to see how easily it is attainable on the English side, and easy it was for me to get my daughter on the back of a really nice horse that we couldn't at the time afford with a special needs son. We didn't have the finances to go buy that high-powered horse for her, but we found one that he was a little bit older and had kind of run his course through. The owner went to college and was looking for somebody to give him a good home, and she ended up winning a ton of stuff on him, and we had a blast, and we were immersed after that, and we did buy a horse after that. We bought all the saddles, all the bridles, all the, contributed to the economic of that industry. But what we ran across as far as ease of finding horses, you can co-op lease a horse, it just is amazing. And I would love if our industry could look at doing more of that, because I think to have somebody come in new right off the street and right away have to spend $30, $40, $50, $60,000 on a horse is a lot. Obviously, there's people who can do it, but not everybody can. And I think in our sport, one of the cool things is it's not as much about money. It's about, you've really got to be a good athlete.
You do.
Our discipline will tell on you if you're not.
100%.
So I do think that separates it a little bit, where horsemanship becomes a bigger part than whether you're riding that high dollar horse or not.
Yeah. When I was learning how to rope as a kid, that was the first thing that, his name's Pat Crawford. He raised me up. He's like, what we're going to learn is you're going to learn your horsemanship skills. So when you do miss or screw up, you still look good.
There you go. I like it.
I was like, okay.
Gotta look good.
Yeah.
So
it was, that's a true story though.
Yeah.
When you do that, if you can show your horsemanship skills, even if you have a blooper, most of the time you can pull yourself through it.
Yeah.
And hope the judge didn't see it or what have you. But we're going to wrap this up. But one thing I want to ask you, what would you define as your grit?
Grit?
Your grit. What gets you driving every day, all the good things?
I think my grit probably comes from and my family probably has a lot to do with my grit. Going through what I went through with my son really changed me. It made me a different person. Put me on a course that I'm glad I'm on, where I balance my work life is really important to me, balancing that and being sure that I'm there for them. You don't have a choice. People ask, how do you raise a special needs child? Oh my gosh, how do you do that? It's not whether you do it or not, you just do it. And but you also have to learn to balance things. I met a special needs family with Cody Cox. I was telling you about going to that. I met a family who have a daughter who has the same syndrome as my son. One of the first families I've met in this area. I think they live in Brownwood. And she was kind of asking about my daughter and what it's like to have a sibling with special needs and all that. And we got into an interesting conversation. And I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Right.
But I did have to think about that all the years raising my daughter, to make sure I wasn't showing favoritism to my son, and make sure she was a big part of our lives as well. So I think just learning to balance all that with the type of career I had, where it was extremely demanding of my time. And I don't ever really get to step away from work. When I do, I pay for it when I come back. But I manage to balance that the best I can. I think comes from him. Yeah,
and you can see that when I first met you, y'all were hanging signs up, your husband, him. I don't think your daughter's with you. But, seeing the interaction of doing all that, make him feel like he's involved with what's going on and helping and all that stuff. What do you think is his grit that makes him get up and go every day? Because a lot of people, I've been around, my ex-wife had a sister that had special needs. There's a lot of things that people don't understand that you go through that they're not normal.
Yeah.
People don't see.
Yeah.
And they still have to push through that.
Yeah.
So
I hate to answer for him, but I would think, Colby's done that for him too. Nobody expects to have a special need kid. Nobody ever imagines what life would be like with that. And we're so blessed because Colby's he is one in a million. Just lights up a room when he walks in.
He does.
He's extremely social. He is charismatic. He's not just glass half full. He's glass full all the time and lives life to the fullest. And it's a constant challenge for my husband and I to keep up with him and keep pace with him and keep him busy. Because we don't want him to be that kid that just sits around. We don't want there to be barriers and limits. We don't tell him no very often. He sets his mind to something. He tells me one day he wants to drive an 18-wheeler. Well, you know what? He made it happen. So now his next thing, he wants to fly a plane.
Oh, wow.
So I do think he drives both of us. I really do.
Really?
He fuels our fire, for sure.
It's interesting how children do that.
Both our kids fuel our fire.
Yeah.
So my daughter's gone Western now. She's come over to the light. So she's riding. She's releasing a little Brother Jackson gelding for her, and she's going to hopefully make her debut in Bryan College Station at the Stock Horse of Texas show, representing Oklahoma State ranch horse team. So pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
So that fuels me as well. I love being a horse show mom.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
My kids, all four of my kids, none of them cared nothing about horse stuff and all the opportunities they have.
Yeah.
They're sports kids. But
That's
kids,
pretty common, I find.
I know.
Interesting.
I
It's
think,
really
well, they see dad gone all the time, and it's always involving
Yeah.
horse show or roping
Yeah.
or working. And for people in the industry, I think they just don't want that taste of it.
Yeah.
But but I will say, when I had my daughters were born, that changed my whole life. Like I was hard nosed, grind, never stopped. Wasn't very sensitive, but them girls will make you sensitive real quick. Yeah. For sure.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I have one that's...
I have 2 seniors right now that are, I'm ready to get them out of here. So, well, Patty, thank you for being on with us today. How can people find more information about the NRCHA?
You can go to our website, nrcha.com. We also have National Ring Cowhorse Association social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, so you can check out what we've got going there. The Cowhorse Incentive, the NRCHA Markel Cowhorse Incentive is on our website as well under programs. So if you want to get more information about that, you can go to our programs page on our website.
Cool.